After one of the most disappointing days of the season, the Cubs had one of the best days of the season. Good news on Kyle Tucker and Cade Horton. The Brewers beat the Padres. The Cubs took care of the Mets. And now the magic number sits at 2 to clinch home field advantage for that first series in the postseason. We're going to get into that. A couple of Cubs prospect named AA All-Stars. And Mets broadcaster Gary Cohen criticizing Matt Shaw. I'm going to give you my thoughts on that as well. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, make fun of the Cardinals, do whatever you want. But let's enjoy the show today, and it's good to see and talk to you guys, as always, here on the channel. Let's get this thing going. Listen, everybody, Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Thank you for hanging. Let me throw that up there. Mick Gillespie, boom, at Broadcaster Mick. And getting closer to giving away these tickets to the Cubs and the Padres, Wrigley Field, Wildcard. You got to be part of what we do here, and that's Mick Nation at AveD. And there's the QR code right there under the screen. So make sure that you hit that, and we look forward to celebrating a wild card home field advantage, the number 4 seed. So the Cubs took a step forward in that happening, beating the Mets. And then, of course, a very nice win for the Brewers in San Diego. And now all of a sudden, the magic number 2 Padres losses, 2 Cubs wins, doesn't matter, one of each. And the Cubs will officially be the team that hosts at Wrigley Field. So, but fun watching the race once you've got everything you need locked up. So pretty exciting about that. Now, and they were backing into it. No doubt about it. The way that things were going weren't the way that we wanted them to go. But to their credit, came back out, took care of business. Matthew Boyd with a good outing. You know, the offense getting things going early and often, and a really good game at Wrigley Field. I loved watching it. And it's time to get back on track again. So that's the good news. Now, some more good news for you. We know now that Kyle Tucker, unless something dramatic happens between now and Friday, should be back in the lineup. Yep. They're saying Kyle Tucker is expected to play Friday, so that would be probably Friday, maybe sit out Saturday, play again Sunday. I don't know what the formula would be. I don't think they're going to play him 3 straight games, but it does give them a little bit of an opportunity. Maybe you do like spring training, plays half the game Friday. Maybe you play a little bit more Saturday. Maybe you play the whole game Saturday and then half of the game on Sunday. Maybe you play all 3. I don't know. But it's good news to know that Kyle Tucker's back. Now, what I'm hoping is that we get the Kyle Tucker that we saw throughout the course of the first half of the season, and not the guy that was struggling mightily there for a while when we, were talking about him kind of hurting the team. And what we found out was he was dealing with a hairline fracture in his hand, came back, and then this hasn't been the hairline fracture. This has been a calf injury, which is weird, is that we had Tyone and him with different calf injuries. Sometimes you go through a year, 2 years, 3 years, and nobody has a calf injury. But it's good to know that Kyle Tucker is going to return. The offense and the Cubs have done their best when he's been in the lineup. You're talking about a guy who can be at times the best player in baseball. Pete Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki were much better when he was in the lineup every day. And the Cubs gave up an enormous price to get him. Enormous. And so it's great to have him back. And talking about last night's game, you're starting to feel this team get going a little bit. The best part of the game to me was watching Pete Crow Armstrong score on that wild pitch from second base. Like, what I love that about him. That's why I call him Hollywood. And I love it when Kyle Tucker's in there. He needs, just to keep on going. And he could be such a spark plug if he gets on base. But Kyle Tucker set to return to the lineup on Friday and maybe bringing some momentum with the Cubs. Now, Cade Horton, oh boy, this was one of those deals where we all kind of said our prayers, right? First off, he throws 29 pitches. Out of the game he goes. Back, stiff back. Then they're like, well, it's not that his back's stiff, it's that he's coughing a lot because he's sick, and he's coughing so much that he is kind of having problems with his back. Now, I believe this because I've been sick before too and coughed so much that my back's hurt and I don't have to pitch. So I get that part of it. And then they were like, well, we're going to send him for an MRI. And that's when I started to worry. Okay. Why are we going for an MRI? Like what? Why? I mean, we're going for an MRI now. Well, good news. They say he should be ready for the playoffs. MRI didn't show anything bad. And I'm glad. So maybe it's an advantage that he only threw 29 pitches. I would have loved for him to knock down one more win, one more amazing performance, and solidify himself as the rookie of the year, which I already think he's going to be the rookie. And the latest odds kind of parrot what I'm thinking. He's minus 350. Bet MGM. Bet Rivers has him at minus 305. Drake Baldwin of the Braves plus 180 with Bet MGM, plus 195 with Bet Rivers. So it feels like Cade Horton has done enough. I think he has. The stats are there. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Won the duels against Paul Skeens, had the long scoreless streak, playing on a team that's in the postseason, and the Braves haven't really, and that's who Baldwin plays for. They're terrible this year. And they have a good team. They just haven't won. Okay? So that's that. And we'll see what happens. I'm curious as you what the playoff rotation is. But if you take Horton out of that mix, not a good thing. But, it was Matthew Boyd needed a good outing. I still think that Shota is a guy you want to pitch in a big game. But I think that for the future of the Cubs, you got to get Horton in one of those first two games. Not just because of this year's matchups, but if you want this guy to be the ace of your staff, he needs that experience, and if you put him in game 2 and they go 2 and out, he won't, and it doesn't touch the ball. I don't know that helps him at all. Cubs minor league prospects, 2 guys I saw on a regular basis. Congratulations. They were named minor league AA All-Stars. 2 guys that are really interesting. One of them's a young utility infielder named Pedro Ramirez. He's from Venezuela. He is a really, really smart player. He ended up hitting 280 in AA, 8 home runs, 21 doubles, 4 triples, 73 runs batted in. He stole 28 bases. Love the fact that he can play really good defense at third and at second base. And he's one of those players that, maybe the analytics doesn't, kind of pop up and give you that look of, hey, you know what, this guy, I've heard scouts tell me, like, I don't know, this, it doesn't really show up on the analytics. But I'm telling you, when you watch the guy play on a regular basis, he just gets it done. The other guy is near and dear to my heart, and that's B.J. Murray Jr. He was the MVP of the 2023 Southern League Championship Series, the first one that the Smokies won since the 70s. And he was supposed to be in AAA, was last year, didn't get it done. He hit 196 and had a slash line of 196, 309, and 319. That's not going to get it done, right? So he spends the entire year in AA Knoxville. He plays in one of the toughest parks to hit home runs in all of AA baseball, and brand new, beautiful Covenant Health Stadium. And the guy hits 20, leads the league, 20 home runs, 18 doubles, leads the league with 89 runs batted in, had 20 stolen bases. He's the first 2020 guy in years in that league. One of the things that you really love about him is that he draws a lot of walks, struck out a lot more than normal, but he hit more home runs. He used to be a top prospect, one of the top 30 prospects. And, and things have changed. He's only 25 years old, but I think that he put himself back on the map again. And congratulations to him. He plays third base, first base, DH. He's a switch hitter, power both sides of the plate, and a fantastic guy, too. He's from the Bahamas. And I wish the guy well. Actually, both guys are fantastic. Play the game the right way. Guys that you want on your team. So shout out to those guys for their recognition. Now, something else I wanted to talk about, and this is such an uncomfortable topic for me, right? Because I know that half of us are here and half of us are here on this Charlie Kirk assassination, but we should all be here when it comes to condemning senseless violence. And nothing to me irritates me more than when the Mets broadcaster comes in and starts criticizing a Cubs player for attending this funeral. Now, let me tell you guys this. I think Gary Cohen's a good broadcaster. I think the Mets have a good television broadcast. I think sometimes he says things that the front office there does not like because they don't want to deal with this, right? Which is me saying, hey, wait a second here. So his comments, and I don't want to get these right, so we can all kind of talk about this together. And I don't want to misquote him. But I'm going to tell you why it bothers me. Gary Cohen said, I don't want to talk about any of the politics of it, but the thought of leaving your team in the middle of a pennant race for any reason other than a family emergency really strikes me as weird. His partner, Todd Zeile, former major leaguer, said, it's unusual. I think it's unprecedented, at least from my experience as a player. And I think it made it a little more unusual that it was not revealed until after it came to issue because he was thought to be in the dugout and maybe available and was not. And that's how it was revealed. Okay, here is my issue with this. And this is, I'm a guy that studied history. If you listen to my broadcasts, I do a date in baseball history every night, and it's a pretty detailed date in baseball history. The reason that this is, to me, different than somebody just walking away from the game is because this moment is historic. It's enormous to the people that care. And there's millions of people that care. Okay? The only other event that I studied in our country's history that's documented enough where I feel like I can say it is when Martin Luther King was assassinated in April of 1968. And when that happened, guess what? Players, they didn't play. They walked away. And in April of 68, 11 players on the Pirates walked away, including Roberto Clemente. Don Clendenning was like Matt Shaw, where not only was he a player on the team, but he was friends with Dr. King. And guess what? People in the country celebrated Dr. King's assassination. Yeah, they did, just like they celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination. There's people out there that celebrated when Martin Luther King was killed, and a lot of them. Willie Stargell, Matty Alou, Maury Wills, Al McBean, Jose Pagan, Manny Mota in the NBA, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. They were playing in game one of the 1968 Eastern Conference Finals. It was between the Celts and the 76ers. To those people, to those players, Just like to people that loved and believed in spiritually what Charlie Kirk said, they loved Martin Luther King. And for me, or for Gary Cohen, or for anybody else to question these players, those 11 players, or Matt Shaw from walking away from the game, and there were a bunch of games that were just postponed. It's one of those deals to me where you look at what that leader meant to the people that he touched. So this isn't a conversation about what we think politically. This is a conversation about there's life outside of baseball. And I've spent 20 years in the game. And I do like Matt Shaw a lot. And I do support Matt Shaw and all the players. And the fact that he felt compelled so much and was so brokenhearted over this should be enough where, just like those players back in 1968, we respected them enough. But, there were commentators that were questioning those guys. Why would Clendening lead these players away from the Pirates? It's opening day. It's whatever. Who won that game that they missed? Does anybody know? Nope. And I don't think anybody cares, but we're still talking about the fact that those guys believed in something so strongly that they stood up for it, just like he did. And I saw him in the press conference, and he's being talked to by the reporters who I'm friends with. And sometimes in life, you have to take a stand, even if it's not necessarily what you really want to do. Do you think he wanted to go to Arizona when he could be playing a baseball game, a kid's baseball game, and have to deal with the fact that the guy that texted him every day was, and it was a spiritual leader and a political leader to millions in our country? Because I've had a lot of them talk to me and not play in this baseball game. I just hope that, and I said it on yesterday's show, and I'm going to reiterate it, that no matter where we sit politically, no matter where we're at in the world, that we can have enough grace and understanding from what someone else is going through. I wasn't alive in 1968, but I can guarantee you that if I was, I would have stood right there with those guys that walked away from baseball for a day because it felt like they needed to do that. So Gary Cohen and Todd Zeal, talk about the game and leave all of that stuff, because I know what you guys were doing. And now I hope the Reds beat you guys and make the playoffs. I'm sorry I'm fired up, but it just irritates me. I know Matt, he's a great guy. He's a quiet guy. He's not a grandstander. He's not trying to get out of playing a baseball game. He loves his team. He's worked his ass off to get where he's at today. And I don't even care, and I've said this before too, because some of you guys are friends of mine on Facebook. I don't even care about the politics of it. Doesn't matter to me. Jimmy Kimmel, put him on the air. I don't care. I don't watch the show, but I'm for him to be able to say what he wants because I'm for free speech. But I don't think that it's acceptable at all to celebrate someone being killed for voicing their free speech. And it hurts my soul when I see people that I care about or that I respect cheering that on, because that ain't right. Whether it's Martin Luther King, someone that my kid comes home from school, we got pictures of Martin Luther King that he drew in school, or Charlie Kirk, someone I didn't even know. but I see the compassion and the love and the pain that my friends and neighbors feel over this. So you guys tell me what you think. But when I got that comment from Gary sent to me, and I just thought, I got my own platform to talk about this kind of stuff. And he's a Cubs fan, Charlie Kirk. He was a Cubs fan. And he's friends with Matt Shaw, and that makes it our business. Do I want Gary Cohen to get fired? No. I just want him to go dig into history. And some of you guys are like, oh, it's a bad idea to miss a game for this. Not if it was something you cared about. Some of you guys were brokenhearted and upset over George Floyd, and I felt for you too. And I don't even think that the George Floyd thing even touches MLK. And I don't think it even touches this Charlie Kirk thing. I think that these two are Goliaths in our nation's history and our future history. So that's my thoughts on it. Anyway, I love you guys. I love the fact that you watch this channel every day. And I love the fact that we might not agree on this or anything else. But you know what? We do agree that we want to see the Cubs win the World Series. And I hope that happens. And there's 2 games now to clinch. I feel like the momentum's changing. We're starting to get some good luck. And we'll talk about that. The other thing I want to say, too, is a lot of you guys have commented on the passing of Buddy Bailey. And I've talked to Tim Wilkin, he was on our channel, former Cubs scouting director. I text or messaged with Sam Hughes, who is a Cubs national cross-checker. His dad, Gary's one of the greatest people and scouts of all time. He's in the open here, if you know Gary. And other people that loved Buddy or really liked Buddy or had fun with Buddy or learned from Buddy. Players have reached out and said, hey, he taught good players to be great. I saw that the Cubs did a tribute to him on the scoreboard. Marquee did. I appreciate that for him because he's a guy that should have been in the big leagues, and he wasn't because the big leagues are political. You talk about politics. Hey, the big leagues are political. And here's one of the smartest baseball guys that I ever met. And he got 1 year as a bench coach in the big leagues, and then he was in the minor leagues. And there's other great people that haven't gotten an opportunity for one reason or another. And he's one of those guys. But he made his presence felt with 6 championships in Venezuela and a Caribbean World Series, which I'll never forget. I remember watching that and cheering for him and the Tigers the entire way. So, but thank you guys for reaching out. And again, Buddy is greatly missed. And a lot of people said, we didn't know Buddy was sick. From what I understand, he didn't know he was sick. And he found out he had cancer, and it was like 2 weeks, and we lost him. So anyway, fiery show. We'll do it again tomorrow. I know there's going to be a lot of comments in here, but you know what? I just got to tell it like it is. That's why I built this channel. And again, thank you guys. No matter what your political views are, we should support each other. And I'm going to keep saying that. Thanks for watching.